Scene 3. Time: Saturday. Moving day, 1 week later. Before the curtain rises, Ruth's voice, a strict, dramatic church alto, cuts through the silence. It is, in the darkness, a triumphant surge of penetrating statement of expectation. O Lord, I don't feel no ways tired, children. O glory, hallelujah. As the curtain rises, we see that Ruth is alone in the living room, finishing up the family's packing. It is moving day. She is nailing crates and trying cartons. Benitra enters, carrying a guitar case, and watches her exuberant sister-in-law. Hey, putting away the case. Hi, pointing at the package. Honey, look in the package there and see what I found on sale this morning at the South Center. Ruth gets up and moves to the package and draws out some curtains. Looky here. Hand turned hems. How do you know the window size out there? Who hadn't thought of that? Oh, well, they bought to fit something in the house. Anyhow, they don't do too good a bargain to pass up. Ruth slaps her head, suddenly remembering something. Oh, Benny, I meant to put up a special note on the carton over there. That's your mamma's good china, and she wants them to be very careful with it. I'll do it. Benitra finds a piece of paper and starts to draw large letters on it. You know what I'm going to do as soon as I get in that new house? What? Honey, I'm going to run me a tub of water to here, with her fingers practically up to her nose curls, and I'm going to get in it, and I'm going to sit and sit and sit in the hot water, and the first person who knocks to tell me to hurry up and come out gets shot at sunrise. Laughing happily. You said it, sister, noticing how large Benitra is absent-mindedly making the note. Honey, they ain't gonna read that from no airplane. Laughing herself. I guess I always think things have more emphasis if they're big somehow. Looking up at her and smiling. You and your brother seem to have that physiology of life. Lord, that man done changed so round here. You know, you know what we did last night? Me and Walter Lee? What? Smiling to herself. We went to the movies, looking at Benitria to see if she understands. We went to the movies. You know the last time me and Walter went to the movies together? No, me neither. That's how long it's been. Smiling again. But we went last night. The picture wasn't much good, but that didn't seem to matter. We went and we held hands. Oh, Lord. We held hands, and you know what? What? When we came out of the show, it was late and dark, and all the stores and things was closed up, and it was kind of chilly, and there wasn't many people on the streets, and we was still holding hands, me and Walter. You're killing me. Walter enters with a large package. His happiness is deep in him. He could not keep still with his new-found exuberance. He is singing and whittling and snapping his fingers. Puts his package in a corner and puts a phonograph record, which he has brought in with him, on the record player. As the music soulfully and sincerely comes up, he dances over to Ruth and tries to get her to dance with him. Gives in at last to his rowdiness, and in a felt of giggle allows herself to be donned into his mood. They dip and she melts into his arms in a classic body-melting slow drag, regarding them a long time as they dance, and then drawing in breath for a deeply exchanging comment which she does not particularly mean. Talk about old-fashioned. What kind? He says this in a fan. He says not angry, but hurt today nor with anyone. He starts to dance with his wife again. Old-fashioned. You know, when these have their conversion, pointing at his sister, that is going to be the chairman of the community on upending adjective. Race, race, race. Girl, I do not believe you the first person in the history of the entire human race to successfully brainwash yourselves. Dimitri breaks up and he goes on dancing. He stops again enjoying his tense. Damn, even the NAACP takes a holiday sometimes. Benitria and Ruth laugh. He dances with Ruth some more and then starts to laugh and stops. And somehow over an operating table, I can just see that the chick someday looking down at the poor cat on an operating table, and before she starts to slice him, she says, pulling his sleeves back maliciously, "By the way, what are your views on civil rights down there?" He laughs at her again and starts to dance happily. The bell sounds. "Stick and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." Beecher goes to the door and opens it as Walter and Ruth go on with the clowning. Beecher is somewhat surprised to see a quiet-looking, middle-aged white man in a business suit holding his hat, a briefcase in his hands, and consulting a small piece of paper. How do you do, miss? I'm looking for Miss. He looks at the slip of paper. Miss Lena Younger. He stopped short, struck down at the sight of oblivious Walter and Ruth, smoothing her hair with a slight embarrassment. Oh, yes, that's my mother. Excuse me. She closes the door and turns to quiet the other two. Ruth, brother, excluding prejudice and soundness. There's a white man at the door. They stop dancing. Ruth cuts off the photograph. Benitra opens the door. The man casts a curious, quiet glance at all of them. Come in, please. Coming in. Thank you. My mother isn't here just now. Is it business? Yes. Well, of a sort, really the man of the house. Have a seat. I am Miss Younger's son. I look after most of her business matters." Ruth and Benitra exchanged amused glances regarding Walter and sitting. "Oh, my name is Carl Lender," stretching out his hand. "Walter Younger. This is my wife." Ruth nods politely. "And my sister. How do you do?" As he sits himself easily on a chair, leaning forward with his knees with interest and looking expectantly into the newcomer's face. "What can we do for you, Mr. Lender?" Some minor shuffling of the hat and briefcase on his knees. "Well, I am a representative of the Clymbor Park Improvement Association," pointing. "Why don't you sit your things on the floor?" "Oh, yes, thank you." He slides the briefcase and hand under his chair. "And as I was saying, I am from the Clybourne Park Improvement Association, and we have had it brought to our attention at the last meeting that you people, or at least your mother, has bought a piece of residential property at," he digs for the slip of paper again, "406 Clybourne Street." "That's right. Care for something to drink? Ruth, get Mr. Lender a beer." Upset for some reason. "Oh, no, really. I mean, thank you very much, but no thank you." Innocently. "Some coffee?" "Thank you, nothing at all." Benitri is watching the man carefully. "Well, I don't know how much you folks know about our organization." He is a gentleman, thoughtful, and somewhat labored in his manner. Is one of these community organizations set up to look after, things like block upkeep and special projects. And we also have what we call our new neighbors orientation committee. Dryly. "Yes, and what do they do?" Turning a little to her and then returning to the main force to Walter. "Well, it's what you might call a sort of welcoming committee, I guess. I mean, I'm the chairman of the committee, go around and see new people who move into the neighborhood and sort of give them the low down on the way we do things in the Clamborn Park." With appreciation of the two meanings which escape Ruth and Walter. Uh-huh. And we also have the category of what the association calls, he looks at elsewhere, special community problems. Yes. And what are some of those? Girl, let the man talk. With understand relief. Thank you. I would sort of like to explain this thing in my own way. I mean, I want to explain to you in a certain way. Go ahead. Yes, well, I'm going to try to get right to the point. I'm sure we'll all appreciate in the long run. Yes, but still now. Well, still innocently. Would you like another chair? You don't look comfortable. More frustrated than annoyed. No, thank you. Very much, please. Well, I do get to the point. I'm sure you people must be aware of some of the incidents which have happened in various parts of the city with colored people have moved into certain areas. Benitria exhales heavily and starts tossing a piece of fruit up and down in the air. Well, because we have what I think is going to be a unique type of organization in America, community life. Not only do we deplore that kind of thing, but we are trying to do something about it. Benitria stops tossing and turns with a new and quizzled interest to the man. We feel gaining confidence in his mission because of the interest in the faces of the people he is talking to. We feel that most of the trouble in this world, when you come right down to it, he hits his knee for emphasis. Most of the trouble exists because people don't sit down and talk to each other. Nodding as she might in church, pleased with the remark. You can say that again, mister. More encouraged by such affirmation. That we don't try hard enough in this world to understand the other fellow's problems, the other guy's point of view. Now that's right. Benicio and Walter merely watch and listen with genuine interest. Yes, that's the way we feel out in Glenbourne Park. And that's why I was elected to come here this afternoon and talk to you people. Friendly like you know, the way people should talk to each other and see if we couldn't find some way to work this out. As I say, the whole business is a matter of caring and about other fellows. Anybody can see that you are a nice family of folks, hardworking and honest, I'm sure. Demetria frowns silently, quizzically, her head tilts regarding him. Today, everybody knows that it means to be on the outside of something, and of course, there is always somebody who is out to take advantage of people who don't always understand. What do you mean? Well, you see, our community is made up of people who've worked hard as the dickens of years to build up this little community. They're not rich and fancy people, just hardworking, honest people who don't really have much but those little homes and a dream of the kind of community they want to raise their children in. Now, I don't say we are all perfect, and there is a lot wrong in some of the things they want, but you've got to admit that a man, right or wrong, has a right to want to have the neighborhood he lives in a certain kind of way. And at the moment, the overwhelming majority of our people out there feel that people get along better, take more of a common interest in the life of community when they share a common background. I want you to believe me when I tell you that race prejudice simply doesn't enter into it. It is a matter of people of Clemborg Park believing rightly or wrongly, as I say, that for the happiness of all concerned, that our families are happier when they live in their own communities. With a grand and bitter gesture, this, friends, is the welcoming community. Dumbfounded, looking at Leonard. Is this what you come marching all the way over here to tell us? Well now, we've been having a fine conversation. I hope you'll hear me all the way through. Tightly. Go ahead, man. You see, in the face of all things, I have a say. We are prepared to make your family a very generous offer. 30 pieces and not a coin less. Yeah? putting on his glasses and drawing a form out of his briefcase. Our association is prepared, though the collective effort of our people to buy a house from you at a financial gain to your family. Lord have mercy, ain't this a living gall? All right to you, though. Well, I want to give you the exact terms of the financial agreement. We don't want to hear no exact terms of no agreement. I want to know if you are any more to tell us about getting together. Taking off his glasses. Well, I don't suppose that you feel. Never mind how I feel. You got any more to say about how people ought to sit down and talk to each other? Get out of my house, man. He turns his back and walks to the door, looking around at the hostile faces and reaching and assembling his hat and briefcase. Well, I don't understand why you people are reacting this way. What do you think you're going to gain by moving into a neighborhood where you aren't wanted and where some elements, well, people, can get awful worked up when they feel that their whole life and everything they've worked for is threatened? Get out. At the door, holding a small card. Well, I'm sorry it went like this. Get out. Almost sadly regretting Walter. You just can't force people to change their hearts, son. He turns and puts his card on the table and exits. Walter pushes the door to which stringing hatred and stands looking at it. Ruth just sits and Benicia stands. They say nothing. Mamma and Travis enter. Well, this is all the packing got done since I left out here this morning. I testify before God that my children got all the energy of the dead. What time they movin' men do? 4 o'clock? You had a caller, Mamma? Is smiling teasingly. Sure enough, who? Arms are folded solitarily. The welcoming committee. Walter and Ruth giggle innocently. Who? The welcoming committee. They said they're sure going to be glad to see you when you get there. Devilishly. Yeah? They said that they can't hardly wait to see your face. Laughter. Sensing their faithlessness. What's the matter with y'all? Ain't nothing the matter with us. We just telling you about the gentleman who came to see you this afternoon from the Claiborne Park Improvement Association. What he want? In the same mood as Benicia and Walter. To welcome you, honey. He said they can't hardly wait. He said that one thing they don't have that they're just dying to have out there is a fine family of fine colored people. To Ruth and Benicia. Ain't that right? Mockingly. Yeah. He left his card. Handing card to Mamma. In case. Mamma reads and throws it on the floor, understanding and looking off as she draws her chair up to the table on which she has put her plant and some sticks and some cord. Father gave us strength, knowing and without fun. Did he threaten us? Oh, Mamma, they don't do it like any more. He talked brotherhood. He said everyone ought to learn how to sit down and hate each other with good Christian fellowship. She and Walter shake hands to redicate the remark. Sadly, Lord protect us. You should hear the money those folks raised to buy the house from us. All we paid and then some. What they think we gonna do, eat 'em? No, honey, marry 'em. Shaking her head. Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, that's the way the crackers crumble. A beat joke. Laughingly noticing what her mother is doing. Mama, what are you doing? Fixing my plant so it won't get hurt none on the way. Mama, you're going to take that to the new house? Uh-huh. The wily looking old thing, stopping and looking at her. It expresses me. With delight, to Benicia. So there, Miss Thing. Walter comes to Mamma suddenly and bends down behind her and squeezes her in the arm with all his strength. She's overwhelmed by the sadness of it, and through delight her manner is like that of Ruth and Travis. Look out now, boy. You make me mess up my thing here. His face lit. He slips down on his knees beside her, his arms still around her. Mamma, you know what it means to climb up in the chariot? Gruffly be very happy. Get on away from me now. Near the gift-wrapped package, trying to catch Walter's eyes. Psst. What's the old song say, Mama? Walter, wow? She is pointing at the package, speaking the line sweetly, playfully in his mama's face. I got wings. You got wings. All God's children got wings. Boy, get out of my face and do some work. When I get to heaven, gonna put on my wings, gonna fly all over God's heaven. Teasingly from across the room. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going there. To Ruth, who was carrying the box across to them. I don't know. You'd think we ought to give her that. Seems to me that she ain't been very appreciative around here. Eyeing the box, which is obviously a gift. What is that? Taking it from Ruth and putting it on the table in front of Mama. Well, what do you all think? Should we give it to her? Oh, she was pretty good today. I'll good you. She turns her eyes to the box again. Open it, Mama. She stands up, looks at it, turns and looks at all of them, and then presses her hands together and does not open the package. Sweetly. Open it, Mama. It's for you. Mama looks in his eyes. It is the first present in her life without it being Christmas. Slowly she opens the package and lifts out, one by one, a brand new, sparkling set of gardening tools. Walter continues, holding. Ruth made up the note. Read it. Picking up the card and adjusting her glasses. To our own Miss Miniver. Love from brother Ruth and Benitria. Ain't that lovely? Tugging at his father's sleeve. Daddy, can I give her mine now? All right, son. Travis flees to get his gift. Now, I don't have to use my knives and forks no more. Travis didn't want to go in with the rest of us, Mama. He got his own. Somewhat amused. We don't know what it is. Racing back in the room with a large hat box and putting it in front of his grandmother. Here. Lord have mercy, baby. You done gone and bought your grandmother a hat? Very proud. Open it. She does and lifts out an elaborate, but very elaborate, wide gardening hat, and all the adults break up at the sight of it. Travis, honey, what is that? Who thinks it is beautiful and appropriate? It's a gardening hat, like the ladies always have it in magazines when they work in their gardens. Giggling fiercely. Travis, we were trying to make Mama Miss Miniver, not Scarlett Ohana. What's the matter with you all? This here is a beautiful hat. I always wanted me one just like it. She pops it on her head and proves it to her grandson, and the hat is luscious and considerably oversized. Hot dog, go, Mama. Doubled over with laughter. I'm sorry, Mama, but you look like you're ready to go out and chop you some cotton, sure enough. They all laugh except Mama, out of defense to Travis's feelings, gathering the boy up to her. Bless your heart, this is the prettiest hat I've ever owned. Walter, Ruth, and Benitria chime in, noisily, festively, and insidiously congratulating Travis on his gift. What are all you standing around here for? We ain't finished in packaging yet. Benny, you ain't packed one book. The bell rings. That couldn't be the movers. It's not hardly too good yet. Benitria goes into her room. Mama stands for the door, turning stiffly. Wait. I'll get it. He stands and looks at the door. You expecting company, son? Just looking at the door. Yeah. Mama looks at Ruth, and they exchange innocent and unfrightened glances, not understanding. Well, I'm in, son. From her room. We need some more string. Travis, you run to the hardware and get me some string cord. Mama goes out and Walter turns and looks at Ruth. Travis goes to a dish for money. Why don't you answer the door, man? Suddenly bounding across the floor to embrace her. 'Cause sometimes it hard to let the future begin. Stomping down on her face. I got wings, you got wings. All God's children got wings. He crosses to the door and throws it open. Standing there is a very slight little man in a not too obvious business suit, and with haunted, frightened eyes and a hat pulled down tightly, brimmed up around his forehead. Travis passes between the man and exits. Walter leans deep in the man's face, still in his blueprints. When I got to heaven, gotta put on my wings. Gonna fly all over God's heaven. The little man just stares at him. Heaven. Suddenly he stops and looks past the little man into the empty hallway. Where's Willie, man? He ain't with me. Not disturbed. Oh, come on in. You know my wife. Dumbly taking off his hat. Yes. How are you, Miss Ruth? Quietly, a mood apart from her husband, already seeing Bobo. Hello, Bobo. Right on time today. Right on time. That's the way. He slaps Bobo on his back. Sit down. Let me hear. Ruth stands stiffly and quietly in the back of them, as though somehow she sensed death, her eyes fixed on her husband, his frightened eyes on the floor, his hat in his hands. Could I please get a drink of water before I tell you about it, Walter Lee? Walter does not take his eyes off the man. Ruth goes silently to the tap and gets a glass of water and brings it to Bobo. There ain't nothing wrong, is there? Let me tell you. Man, didn't nothing go wrong? Let me tell you, Walter Lee, looking at Ruth and taking to her more than to Walter. And you know how it was. I got to tell you how it is. I mean, first I got to tell you how it was all the way. I mean, about the money I put in, Walter Lee, with Holt Agrant now. What about the money you put in? Well, it hasn't much as we told you, me and Willie. He stops. I'm sorry, Walter. I got a bad feeling about it. I got a real bad feeling about it. Man, what are you telling me about all this for? Tell me what happened in Springfield. Springfield, like a dead woman. What was supposed to happen in Springfield? To her. This deal with me and Walter went into with Willie. Me and Willie are going to go down to Springfield and spend some money around so we won't have to find so long for the liquor license. That's what we gonna do. Everybody said that was the way you had to do it. You understand, Miss Ruth? Man, what happened down there? A pitiful man, now tears. I'm trying to tell you, Walter, screaming at him suddenly. Then tell me, goddammit, what's the matter with you? Man, I don't go to no Springfield yesterday, halted, life hanging in the moment. Why not? The long way, the hard way to tell. 'Cause I didn't have no reasons to. Man, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that when I got to the train station yesterday morning, 8 o'clock, like we planned, man, Willie didn't never showed up. Why? Where was he? Where is he? That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't know. I waited 6 hours. I called his house and I waited. 6 hours. I waited in that train station 6 hours, breaking into tears. That was all the extra money I had in the world. Up at Walter with the tears running down his face. Man, Willie is gone. Gone? What do you mean Willie's gone? Gone where? You mean he went by himself? You mean he went out to Springfield by himself to take care of getting the license? Turns and looks anxiously at Ruth. You mean maybe he didn't want too many people in the business down there? Looks at Ruth again, as before. You know Willie got his own ways. Looks back at Bobo. Maybe you was late yesterday and he just went on down without you. Maybe he'd be chilling you at home, trying to tell you what happened or something. Maybe he just got sick. He's somewhere. He's gotta be somewhere. We just got to find him. Me and you. Got to find him. Grabs Bobo senselessly by the collar and starts to shake him. We got to. in a sudden anger, frightened agony. "What's the matter with you, Walter? When a cat takes off with your money, he don't leave you no road maps," turning madly, as though he was looking for Willie in his very room. "Willie! Willie! Don't do it. Please don't do it. Man, not with that money. Man, please, not with that money. Oh, God, don't let it be true. He is wandering around crying out for Willie and looking at him, or perhaps for help from God. Man, I trusted you. Man, I put my life in your hands." He starts to crumble down on the floor as Ruth covers her face in horror. Mama opens the door and comes into the room with Benitria behind her. "Man," he starts to pound the floor with his fists, sobbing wildly. "That money is made out of my father's flesh." Standing over him helplessly. "I'm sorry, Walter." Only Walter's sobs reply. Bobo puts on his hat. "I had my life staked on this deal, too." He exits. To Walter. "Son." She goes to him, bends down to him, takes to his belt head. "Son, is it gone? Son, I gave you $6,500. Is it gone? All of it? Benitria's money too?" Lifting his head slowly. "Mama, I never went to the bank at all." Not wanting to believe him. "You mean your sister's school money? You used that too, Walter?" "Yes, all of it. It's all gone." There is total silence. Ruth stands over her, face covered with her hands. Benitria leans forcefully against a wall, fingering a piece of red ribbon from her mother's gift. Mama stops and looks at her son without recognition, and then, quiet without thinking of it, starts to beat him senselessly in the face. Benitria goes to them and stops it. "Mama!" Mama stops and looks at both of her children, and raises slowly and wanders vigorously, aimlessly away from them. "I seen him, night after night, come in and look at that rug, and then look at me, the red shadowing in her eyes, the veins moving in her head. I seen him grow thin and old before he was 40, working and working and working like somebody's old horse, killing himself, and you give it all away in one day." She raises her arms and strikes him again. "Mama." "Oh, God." She looks up to him. "Look down here and show me that strength, Mama." Folding over. "Strength." Plaintively. "Mama. Strength." Curtain.